Hello, social media. I'm Vic. This is the first time I've done anything like this, so please bear with me. I'm going to try my best not to curse or get angry, and I'm just going to jump right into it. Fast idea about what I want this channel to represent and what I'm trying to accomplish. These are going to be my personal views and solid facts when I have them, targeted towards truth, justice, and trying to live the American dream up to each of our own personal and possible capabilities through common sense, while also shoveling through the lies and tyrannical falsehoods of the mainstream media, corrupt politicians, and their army of dishonest mouthpieces who will do or say anything, no matter how disgustingly despicable or blatant, just to stay in power or in trying to obtain more power. They have too much power already, in my view. Enough is enough. The main goal in this is to help people to possibly use their minds and personal intelligence over their emotions, which is the driving force behind the division in our country right now. All I want to do is slow that down a little bit. If I can get just a few people a week to do some research and sift through the actual facts and truthful statistics over the fiction and lies, I will feel like I have done something to help, if even just a little. I can't just sit back and watch our beautiful country fall to pieces while I stay silent. With that being said, I am in no way, shape, or form a Republican. I wouldn't really call myself an independent. But I am, as sure as I am breathing, want nothing to do with the Democratic Party or any leftist policies or lies that they are forcibly shoveling down our throats and then duct taping our mouths closed so we can't speak our own truths, or even the truths we all know to be true. As I said, this is my first video, so quick background. About 12 years ago, a fairly new platform came out called Facebook. When I joined, they asked me a series of questions, one of which was my political views. My answer was, you can have them. And I felt that way for my entire life until about 2 years ago. I was writing a book about my extremely privileged now, abusive and very impoverished young life. And for some reason, I wanted to have some background noise. I turned on my TV and it was already tuned to CNN. I let it roll. Immediately, and for the next 3 days straight, all I heard was Trump, Trump, Trump. Russian asset, Russian collusion, he's working for Putin, he's a traitor to this country, we need to impeach. We have all the evidence against him in plain sight. I started getting curious because they weren't talking about anything else at all. I always thought of and heard of CNN as being headline news. Something else important has to be going on in our country. Trump is the only criminal left out there? This is really the only news there is? At the very least, something has to be going on somewhere else in the world. I got tired of hearing the same thing over and over by these obviously angry partisan political hacks. So I switched over to MSNBC. Huge mistake. One full day, you gotta be kidding me. Same exact thing over and over, but the crying and the whining from these anchors was way worse. It's been a year and a half. Jesus H. Christ, get over it already. I figured I'd move on. These people are insane. Only real thing left was C-SPAN or Fox. I went to Fox. Within 3 or so hours, I realized that the other two channels were completely off their rockers and were incredibly still salty about him taking the presidency from their hill dog. I remember everyone crying right after the election. I can't believe this. It was her turn. I'm moving to Canada. He's not my president. They were obviously still not over this by any means, and still to this day. The thing that kept me tuned mostly to Fox at this point was the fact that they actually had facts. Stone cold documents of the left's untruthful partisan hit job of the president and anyone that stood by him that threatened their narratives. Simply proving the Democrats and the media were completely lying through their teeth. And the reason I knew this over the next few weeks is because the other channels didn't even fight with the Fox anchors were saying. They didn't even mention any of it. Impartial journalists, huh? I personally don't think they are. So fast forward to today, through the investigations, the impeachment, and all the rest of the left's unrelenting battling against the big bad orange dude and his Nazi cronies. Everything they've tried failed because it was all a made-up fantasy, in some ways. In other ways, it was the God's honest truth. They actually took things the Clintons and Joe Biden did and spun them around and started blaming Trump for their own unchallenged crimes. Russian collusion and quid pro quo. And you can argue with me all you want on these topics. You can't win. You can only call me names. Those are stone cold facts backed up by federal documents and even video evidence, and it's now the Democratic Party now operates. It's the used to be secret but now very out in the open and blatant mantra, lie, cheat, and steal. Take what you want. If you get caught, deny, 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 then turn what you were getting called out for against your accuser. This practice is embedded in everything they do these days, unfortunately. And after all they have done, especially in the last few months, to upend our country and dismantle our way of life, that has somewhat thankfully failed up to this point, their newest operation to keep us angry, divided, and thinking with our emotions instead of our intelligence is this: a race and gender war, mostly against straight white men and black police. This is the only thing they have left in their bag of tricks. I hope. I pray. Oppression, racial inequality, misogyny, xenophobia, Uncle Tomism, systematic blah, blah, blah. With the actual statistics for all of that nonsense pointing in the exact opposite direction. I don't give a rat's ass what color you are, what gender you are, or what you identify as. Get a job, go to work. Work harder than the people around you. Get a raise, get a promotion, and keep moving forward. If you work hard enough, you will be happy with your accomplishments and stop being able to play the victim, which is exactly what they want from you. And it's one of the ways they have remained in power for so long. Without this divisive garbage, there would be absolutely no need for the Democratic Party to even exist anymore. It's not the government's job to save you or your family economically. It's on you. These little, I'm sorry, assholes out there right now, destroying our country and our history and demanding things they didn't work for and definitely do not deserve, are out of their twisted little heads. They obviously don't work at all or have any children, or they would be home taking care of their responsibilities. These little entitled, no responsibility, spoiled little brats don't have the right to demand anything from anyone. They haven't earned a goddamn thing. They are a small group of radical leftist Marxists who are loud, obnoxious, and trying out violence for the first time in real life instead of on Grand Theft Auto or Fortnite. They haven't made or accomplished anything in their lives, so they don't care about ruining what you or I or our parents or grandparents have worked our entire lives to build. You won't see them burning down mommy and daddy's house, because that's where they're going to need to hide, in their parents' basement, even though they despise their parents for giving them too much privilege. When the shit hits the fan and we have had enough and fight to get our country back on track, that's exactly where they're going to go. Our ancestors, grandparents, and parents paid taxes out of their ass to build this country up, and these little left-wing indoctrinated schmucks think they have the right because their radical activist professors at $70,000 a year colleges have taught them that they are all victims of racism, sexism, and a bunch of made-up phony fill-in-the-blanks isms in between. Shame on them and everything they stand for or kneel for when they're feeling oppressed from such an unfair system. If you can't make it in this country the way it is right now, that's nobody's fault but your own. Stop whining and complaining, put your head down, and do your job. That's all it takes. You all scream oppression while you're oppressing yourselves, spewing your victimhood at everyone. Hardworking Americans, regardless of race or gender, don't want to hear your crybaby victimization. And if it's all not anyone's fault but your own, if you can't get a job in the topic you were supposed to learn in college, your master's degree in transgender, homoerotic arts and crafts isn't going to work in the real world for most of you. Sorry, but not sorry. This is especially true when your professor didn't teach you what you needed to learn in that anyway and taught you how to be a political activist. Good luck with all of it. Godspeed. Hope your parents are proud to have spent $250,000 on a master's degree that isn't worth picking up dog shit off the sidewalk. And this idea that they have of tear it all down and rebuild, then get everything for free after, makes absolutely no sense at all. Not to me. I have no doubt in my mind that if we allow them to keep rolling on the way they are, they will be successful in the tearing it all down part. But I promise you, they will be nowhere to be found besides standing around with their hands out, waiting for their imaginary free stuff to fall from the sky when it's time to rebuild. Newsflash, there won't be anything left for you or anybody else if we have to rebuild our country from the ground up. It's simple math. And if you think any different, you are not that bright and need to tear down your brain, reboot your mind, and rebuild your thoughts. And as I said earlier, I am by no means a Republican. As of this moment, most of them are showing themselves to be extremely cowardice in the face of the dismantling of our country. So I don't want to identify as one of them either. I identify as a commonsensical American patriot. A few of my common sense theories are these. Gun rights. Law-abiding citizens have the right and needs to protect themselves from all criminal elements despite race or gender. And also, if our government decided to be any more tyrannical than they already showing themselves to be. Take away regular folks' rights to defend themselves, their family, their property, and their neighbors leaves only one thing. Criminals, thugs, and terrorists running wild with what probably used to be our guns, murdering us and stealing our personal belongings that took us years to build up and save for, with no one anywhere around with the means to stop them, especially if they get their defund the police dreams to come true. So yeah, Second Amendment, I'm all in. I don't need any more of an argument than that. Guns don't kill people on their own. Pissed off assholes kill people with whatever they can get their hands on. Let's switch over to abortion. I'm in the middle, not really left, not really right. I look at it as a case-by-case basis. If a woman gets pregnant and there are health reasons, absolutely. No reason for the child or parents to suffer an ultra-challenging life. Rape or incest, again, absolutely. If it was a mistake and you're just not ready to have a child, I get that too. I know quite a few people who shouldn't have had children when they did, but go get it done immediately. Don't be lazy and wait until you're 7 or 8 months pregnant, or wait until everyone can physically see you're pregnant just for the attention. That truly just makes you out to be a cold-hearted scumbag. And I don't mean to call names, but if you wait 8 months, then I simply can't find any positive thing to call you. Abortions are available everywhere. There is no excuse for waiting that long. Absolutely none. After 16 weeks, that little tiny innocent human starts moving around, and if it's moving on its own, in my book, it's alive. Before that movement begins, I kind of agree. It's the woman's choice. But after that, I'm sorry, honey. You just took a life that might have had a special purpose, meaning, or reason to have been being put on this earth, and you took all of their possibilities away. Like with the activist professors, shame on you too. And my last rant for today is this. I've really, for my entire adult life, could never wrap my mind around the whole left versus right, Republican versus Democrat battle. The idea that you have to agree with tens of millions of other individuals on every single policy or belief they have, it simply astonishes me as an individual. That is not freedom in my book. It's programming. There are things I agree with and disagree with on both sides. It's called being a free-thinking, open-minded American. I thought we had that right in this country, to think for ourselves. The fact that you need to agree with 30 out of 30 policies from someone you've never ever met, who lives 2,000 miles from your area code, seems like it would be completely impossible to me, unless you were forced into it. Which I'm sorry to have to inform some of you that the intolerant leftist, Marxist, communist, socialists of today are doing exactly that. If you disagree with even one of their absolutely insane policies, that's it for you, you poor bastard. You are now a racist, sexist, Nazi, bigot, transphobic, homophobe, white privileged dog rapist because you don't believe that borders should be wide open to machete-wielding gang members, terrorists, drug cartels, and child sex traffickers. I suppose in the culture we live in, that's what makes you and I a reprehensible, deplorable douchebag in the eyes of the left-wing media and the Democratic Party. It's all just absolutely mind-boggling to me. That's pretty much it for right now. I will try to post at least once a week from here on in a more topic-based format, just breaking down how I feel about things. There's a lot on my mind, and I feel like there are too many people out there that just swallow anything they hear whole. Lawmakers, they just puke it back up in our faces without knowing any facts or history behind what they're even spewing anymore. If you like or dislike what I said, you know what to do. I will debate you on facts if you would like to, when I have time. Like most Americans, I do have to go to work. The second someone starts calling me names, conversation's over. I will not acknowledge you in any way. You don't know me, what I've been through, or who I associate with on a daily basis. So keep that shit in your pants with the rest of the sewage you have backed up in there, because I will not deal with it. You want to have a conversation? I'm good with it. For everyone seeing this, try to have a better day than yesterday and ride that momentum into tomorrow. Peace.